Welcome to RiverBend Talon on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
All right, another Thursday night in the RiverBend area. What's happening, Mr. Dennis?
Oh, man, I hate to do this, but back before Thanksgiving, I forgot to mention something. And on that same note, some bad news to start things off, man. I want to send out, I got my Spilly Nelson shirt on.
Yeah?
I want to send out best wishes to the Josh Witt family who lost their daughter, Jaden Witt, to cancer.
Oh.
And, yeah, that's a rough one.
Oh, I didn't even hear about that.
She's been battling for a while and finally passed away, so our thoughts go out to her. And
absolutely.
And last time I was on the air, right before Thanksgiving, I meant to mention Mr. Matt Van Voorhis sent me an email saying one of our biggest fans, maybe the biggest fans, it's between her and my mom, right?
Right.
Never missed an episode. His grandma, Kate, passed away.
And
she was 91, I want to say.
Yeah, and I knew Kate. Kate was
I heard
Kate
about
was
that.
a sweetheart, man.
Talked about the sun shining. Bothering her eyes, right?
That's right. That's right.
And her, I do my research.
You do.
And
you are good.
And her, what was it? One of her family members thought it was the rain that messed with her.
Yeah.
But it was actually the sunshine, right?
Yeah.
Now you can tell the rest of the story. That's what I remember off the top.
Well, there was just a few times that Kate would let me know things that Matt and her other grandson should know, that for some reason she didn't tell them, she would tell me, and I would pass it on, like, pick her up whenever the sun's shining, not when it's raining. That's when she needs a ride. But yeah, she will be missed. She was a sweetheart of a lady. And big condolences to the Witt family. Josh is a heck of a guy.
Yep.
And our thoughts go out to them.
All right, man. Deep breath and
yeah. Hey, speaking
tough
of Matt
way to
Van,
start, but man, if I don't do that, you get to rolling, and we're off into left center land somewhere in Oz, and Smash is driving off the road near Christian Northeast because we're talking about him stealing our show. And, so I want to calm down and get that in before we started.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Matt Van Voorhis, we said his grandmother had passed. We forgot to mention he's a sponsor of the show.
Yes, he is. Thank you very much.
Macias Insurance.
And the Van Voorhises have their own cemetery.
Oh, yeah?
It's in a made-up town, I'm pretty sure.
A made-up
And it may be made up. I haven't got to investigate it. But it was like, I can't remember the town now. He mentioned it in the email. I sent you the email, so you've probably seen it.
Yeah, I don't remember the...
But I want to say it's something like Hillsboro, but not. And that's why I was like, it's like 4 syllables off from that. It might be a fake name.
Hillsboro.
Hillsboro, right? Yeah, that's a couple of banging places there.
Broughh, bra. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something.
Bruja?
Bruja. Hills. Well, our condolences to the Van Voorhises and to the Witt family. And you know what? We have my condolences to our guest tonight. Not condolences, my apologies to our guest tonight, Scott and Mechelle.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have Scott and Mechelle Smith on. And I don't know if we actually talk about it on the interview. We recorded this interview a couple weeks back.
I wasn't here, so I didn't keep you in line, so you can blame me.
Right, you weren't there to keep. I honestly, I kept saying Dennis isn't here. I got to stay on track here.
Sure.
But I had actually talked to them 2 years ago about being on the show. They played at Happy Trails 2 winters ago, and I saw them play for the first time and said, hey, you guys got to be on this radio show. We'll promote you. You're really good. And it took 2 years to actually get them on. I do apologize.
Yeah, and did you see they were voted best band in the Advantage
nice
poll they do, what's it called, Reader's Choice Award?
Very good. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I knew you had it planned out perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
That, we'd be playing their interview right after they were crowned champions.
Well, look, the thing is here.
Now they're going after Big George Brock, I heard.
Here's the deal.
One-on-one, cutting heads. Scott and Mechelle versus Big George Brock Jr. in the squared circle.
Well, here's the truth.
Coliseum Ballroom in Vanille.
Since it's just me and you talking.
No one's listening.
Since nobody's listening and it's just me and you talking, I'll tell you the reason it took 2 years. I wasn't going to have them on until they won an award.
Oh, okay.
Once they won the award, I thought, no, that's not true.
It's weird because I just told you that and you acted like you didn't know. So I don't know how that works out for you. But.
I make it all up as I go along. You know that
Really?
much. You
When
do
did
know
that start?
much.
I'm surprised.
Well, it started about 50 years ago almost. So we got some canceled gigs going on, but there are still some things happening here in the RiverBend area.
Yeah, it's hit and miss as
It is.
usual, and in some cases, just not updated. So you got to bear with us.
And check, go to cottonmouth.org and check the links. That will help a lot.
It will
okay?
help, but
Yeah.
you may end up at a place that just hasn't updated quite
Right.
yet. And so, and I'm bringing up Morrison's on that one because we know the sea shanty sing-along is usually every Thursday night.
Should be.
The last couple of times I was like, I'm not sure. I went back and looked, and they did have it. So
Hopefully they're having it again tonight. I don't know if this is true. You know, fake news, just say it in advance. But I think enough Irish whiskey could kill the Rona.
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's worth a try.
Is that the vaccine?
That is the vaccine.
Man, can you imagine how concerts going to be, man? If you got to take that vaccine before you go.
Just like a lot of other
That
concerts.
proves Dave Mustaine's right there, man.
There you go.
Because he said during times like this, metal comes back. And that's the kind of band you go see when you drink a lot of Irish whiskey, man.
You know what? That dude, talking about Dave, he was on his game. That
He's still on
countdown,
his game.
I was going to say, that
He just
countdown to
survived
distinction.
cancer. He just got
Did
over
he?
it. Yeah.
Nice. Good for him. His music is still as relevant today. That countdown to extinction, I heard that a few days ago and went, wow, that's
On
still happening.
94.3 The Mix.
No, I didn't hear it on there.
That's an oldie but a goodie
That is
now.
an oldie but a goodie. I don't think it's in the 60s or 70s.
It
though,
doesn't
but
matter. Those are old songs.
I've
heard
I'm saying.
80s REO Speedwagon on there.
And some cars, some
Yeah.
Devo.
I'm taking notes.
You know what though? I looked it up.
I'm taking notes.
I actually
I will be taking it to the management about that.
I looked it up, and you know what? The Cars' first album did come out in '78.
Okay,
So there you
so that
go.
counts 78, right?
Well, you know, that counts
Van
the first
Halen
two
killed
albums.
disco in 78.
'78, Van Halen came out.
They killed disco.
Of course, I can't play anything off
Literally.
1984 because everybody knows that.
Iron Maiden was coming out at that time too, believe it or not. A lot of people don't realize it. That was a new wave of British heavy metal kicking off.
Gibby Haynes
Yep.
hitting the scene.
Smash mentioned Judas Priest earlier. They were in on that new wave of British heavy metal.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to
those
figure
guys
out the
make you
old
want to
wave.
shoot yourself, though, don't
I guess
they? That's what I
Sabbath
heard.
and Zeppelin were the old wave.
Sabbath came
But I
out
don't
in
think they were
1970.
called heavy metal until later, like in the 80s.
You know what? Even before Sabbath hit the scene in '70, and I'm telling you, that was like the beginning of heavy music to me. Like that was the first band I heard that I went, "Wow, that is like
Jimi
heavy."
Hendrix and
But before that, you had bands like Hendrix,
Rolling Stones
Yeah, there's-
were
oh,
very
man.
punk rock. I mean, they made fun of the Beatles the whole time. Then Helter Skelter from the Beatles.
Yeah,
You can't get any heavier than blisters on your fingers.
I've got blisters on my fingers.
So
Bands like Love,
Blue
man,
Cheer,
heavy
man.
stuff. Yeah,
nothing's louder than
absolutely.
that. Maybe Exodus.
New and improved.
It took
That
a
is
long
great
time
album.
to reach. Oh man, it's a noisy album. Let's put it that way.
So
That's got to be the loudest recorded guitar in history. It just seems that way.
yeah, he had it up on 11.
Mm-hmm.
His goes to 11. What else we got on our Thursday night? Here's a
Oh,
band
yeah,
I
we were
just,
talking about stuff, weren't we?
I just talked to Joe from Borderline. We're going to
Okay.
have them on real soon.
Did he say they were playing Fast Eddie?
He did
tonight?
not say that, but I'm saying that they are because he did not mention that they canceled that one. They had a few cancellations going on, but that was not one of them. So, there
And
you
then
go.
we can skip the next two. I only leave the links in there now that are the ones that have surprised me with the show later.
Right.
So I've condensed the list a little bit. The ones, like the wineries in Grafton, they're kind of, closed down for winter. They do that every year.
Yeah.
So they're kind of in that mode.
Well, last thing on Thursday, though. Last thing happening on Thursday
Right.
night is Shotgun Creek at Doits Village Inn, 6 p.m., and that takes care.
I did just see that one yesterday.
Yeah,
Their
excellent.
whole list for
Well,
the weekend.
There you go, man. I mean, everybody's trying to do what they can to keep things rolling.
On Friday night, third shoot, they've been doing this a lot. They've got the DJs, and again, I believe, SKJ Entertainment.
between SKJ,
the ones we're going to mention,
R&R, and I mean they. But I think for them, for Third Chute, and since Tommy has that business where he does that, I think it's kind of easier to cancel and get DJs in. Than
they do
whole
both.
Band.
Even when they have a live band, they have a DJ.
They still have the DJ.
Yeah. Like because they've got the 2 bars, right?
Right.
I've never been there. I just go by what Tommy says.
I go out and drive that boat around every now and again.
Fake news.
Fake news. Also going on Friday
You're driving
night.
that boat around, man. You need some water, and pretty sure it's not flooded there.
But it's got a bar in that boat, and if I drink enough, I think I'm driving it.
Well, that could be true.
Going on down at Fast Eddie's Bon Air this evening, tomorrow night. Friday night is the Truckers from 8 to 12 p.m.
Yeah, tonight is borderline.
Tonight's borderline. Tomorrow is the Truckers. And down at Chez, Maryland on Friday night is going to be our guest next week. It's the Graham Band.
Right.
So Aaron and Graham playing down at Chez, Maryland.
Okay. Isaiah Christian was canceled out at Bakers and Hale.
Which is a bummer, man. Bakers and Hale, though, I want to say this.
It's canceled all weekend.
I just did my first drive-in or pickup from Bakers and Hale. They got a good system, man. You pull right up to the front door, and they bring it out. Literally, you pull up like Hunter Thompson style right to the front door, and they bring it out to you.
Isn't that what McDonald's does?
Well, yeah.
What? That's an old system then.
Well, it's not, they don't have a drive-through window. It's
I'm
the
on
door
top of your fake news.
It's the door that people walk in and out of.
I'm glad you're
though.
proud of them, but I just want to, maybe you've never been to McDonald's.
I have been to McDonald's, but you
Really?
don't drive up to their front door.
Now that's truth.
You don't drive to their front door. You drive to their drive-through window. This
Really?
you drive to the front door.
I always go through that. When I go to McDonald's, I just climb through the drive-through. Because I'm usually like waiting in line a while and I have to pee. By the time I get to the window and I can't,
Why don't they add a little, rest stop on their drive? Yeah, the lines at McDonald's are too long for me anymore, so sorry, guys. Add a third drive-in. Maybe that'll help. I don't know.
Yeah, 3 lanes.
3-lane drive-in, yeah. It's 2 lanes and they're all packed, so
2 lanes.
They're not hurting for business, I'm going to tell you that.
Condensed to 1.
All right, so what else we got going on tonight or tomorrow
Friday.
night?
We're
Yeah,
talking
Friday
about
night.
Friday.
I know.
We're past
I'm
that.
confused. Tim and Mel, 6 to 10 p.m. at the Bella Vista Winery in Maryville on Friday evening.
Yep. Midlife deal at the cabin at Judy Creek and Glen Carvin. They got the, all the outdoor places where they had for smoking. They've just converted into outdoor places now to play shows.
Genius. When they did the no smoking thing, suddenly the business of building beer gardens was a huge business.
Now they got COVID gardens.
I was going to say now they're using COVID and going, we got to build outdoor venues for bands, man.
I don't get it, but
Yeah,
I'm not an expert.
I'm not an expert, but I play one on the radio. And
Well, then explain what the difference between an enclosed tent and an enclosed building is.
Well, one of them you paid a permit to build.
I say open it up.
Open it up, baby.
25%, right? We can do that.
Who knows?
Which is what, some businesses are doing. That's why some are open, some are closed.
If that company hadn't bought Alton Square and revamped it, I'd say, hey, let's buy that and make it a bar. And at 25% capacity, you can still get thousands of people. I don't know.
Our buddy Mike Reedy went and seen Celebration Day.
Nice.
The pageant.
Nice.
So they'd have 4 seats.
Yeah.
And then a big opening, like 4 seats open, then 4 seats. So you had to take 2 people with you.
Yeah.
That you trusted.
Right.
Right. That's hard to find.
I wonder about the walking in and walking out and all that. So yeah,
I don't know.
Everybody's
maybe
doing,
4 at a time.
That's what I was wondering. Also, what else we got going on Friday night? Friday night we got Shotgun Creek is back at Doits Village Inn in Pontoon Beach.
I mentioned Mike Reedy because he's trying to take Grandma Kate's place now as our new.
Oh, yeah.
Favorite listener.
Right on.
He told me he went back and listened to the Mark Quinn interview, which was like back in 1964 when we did that, right? It seemed like it. It was a few years ago now, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was back.
We can say we've been on the air for a few years. We didn't think we'd make it past the first 2 or 3 shows.
Yeah, really.
Once you started.
Right.
I was doing okay up till then. I didn't feel like I was going to lose the show, but once you started talking your nonsense.
Did
you get that letter from the general manager today? You better check your email.
About
You're going to have to sign some paperwork.
Sexual harassment.
Panda.
Panda.
That's right. We're breaking out sexual harassment, Panda.
Nobody has to teach me how to sexually harass.
No.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe
I
I
looked through there
misunderstood.
just to see how many violations you had.
I don't think I have
It's
any.
mainly on our guests, so it's not other employees.
So it's fine.
I
'Cause
think
not
it's
employee.
legal.
I
if
think
it's,
totally
it's on
legal.
guests.
See, and obviously
They volunteered to come in and take it from you,
That's right. They didn't have to.
and that's not sexual harassment. What I just said. I just want to, patent pending.
pending.
If our lawyer's listening, look that up.
Here's the thing. Why did they think they need to teach me how to sexually harass people properly?
They just
Is that what it's about?
I think they just want to get the panda out.
Ah.
Yeah.
Or am I confused like that first time I took a drug test and was all like, I'm going to ace this thing?
I'll tell you what's confusing to me.
What's that?
You know how Doits Village Inn does Friday and Saturday night?
Yeah, they're doing Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, this week they got Shotgun Creek on Thursday and Friday night. See how I segued that?
Yeah, I like
Back
that.
to Doits Village Inn and back to Friday night in the list. Because don't we have to wrap this up quick?
We do. We only got a couple minutes left.
Right.
So.
Because we've got real action coming.
All right.
The
What else
number
we got?
one voted band
Number
in
one
the
voted
RiverBend.
band. That's right. We're on Friday night, right?
Yeah, we're on Friday night. I added a couple things in here that are a little different than live performances. Oh, actually, the first one isn't. So Dr. Chevega took our advice.
Yeah.
They're going out and doing King of the Hill
Wow, there you
songs.
go. There you
9
go.
p.m. at Diamond Music. That's fake news about taking our advice. 9 p.m. at Diamond Music Hall in St. Peter's. They've been fighting through this thing pretty good.
Yeah.
And then RiverBend, they were supposed to play at the Focal Point. That got canceled, so now they're doing a live stream
At the Focal Point.
at the Focal Point. Yeah,
There you go.
and that's at 7 o'clock on Friday. Speaking of live streams, we've got a couple of those, so you can find links at cottonmouth.org.
There
I
you
think
go.
there's another one on Saturday, which is where we're at now. We're finally to Saturday.
We are. The Double Wide Duo is playing 6 p.m. at Chubby's.
And Chubby's recently the RiverBend Classic Band there, so they're starting to do some
Nice.
shows. Unfortunately, can't find nothing on their site. It has to be the band telling you.
Yeah.
So thanks to the Double Wide Duo for putting that out there for us to find. Here's another one of those online concerts.
Yeah.
The Alton Symphony Orchestra online concert and fundraiser, 7 to 10. And you can find the link how to get to that on Saturday right there at cottonmouth.org. Now, here's the thing. You always have to dress up for those.
Not
So
this
I
year.
think I'm going to go check this one out. Sit there with my bong and watch it. It'll be way better.
Perfect.
It's going to be
Perfect.
way better.
Oh, yeah. Sitting in the old, lounger chair.
In my pajamas.
In your pajamas.
Watching the symphony.
Heck yeah.
I might get some wine for that.
Smoking
Just
and
act
drinking
like
and
I'm
smoking. Oh,
dressed like Hugh Hefner for the night.
Get the old smoking coat out.
Right.
Smoking jacket. There we go. What else we got on Saturday night? We have Naked Soul is playing down at from 3 to 7 at Fast Eddie's, and then the Truckers at 8 p.m. at Fast Eddie's on Saturday night.
DJ back at Third Chute, R&R Entertainment on Saturday night at 8 o'clock.
And then we've got, after midnight, 6 p.m. at Doits Village Inn in Pontoon Beach.
We want to mention that Jacob Weber and the Lonesome Drippers canceled out of Bakers and Hale, and Borderline canceled at Grafton Winery.
Yeah.
They canceled their stuff for the weekend, the winery up in Grafton. They're going to fire back up, though, I think next week. They're only down for like a week or so.
Right.
You
Powerhouse 747 going on 7:30 to 11:30 at Patrick's in Granite City.
mentioned- And that takes us to Sunday.
Sunday.
Naked Soul and Cross the Line are playing at Fast Eddie's. 1 o'clock we're Naked Soul. 6 o'clock we're Cross the Line on Sunday at Fast Eddie's. Scott Logan and Leslie Craig canceled at Grafton Winery. George from Boulder Dash, 1 o'clock at Whodats on Sunday. I believe that's like an outdoor enclosed place there. And then Jeremy Drake, 4 p.m. at the Cabin at Judy Creek in Glen Carbon. Mo Pleasure, 2 p.m. at Doits Village Inn in Pontoon Beach on Sunday.
There you go. That takes care of the RiverBend area. And if you want to check out any of that stuff, you're thinking about going out, all you have to do is log on to cottonmouth.org. All those gigs are listed right there as soon as you log on, and you can, take your phone with you when you go out. Log on and see what's up.
Yeah, I've been trying to stay up on it more than often. Instead of, leaving the links up and just kind of going back over them, now I have to click on every single link again each time just to see, what kind of updates have come up. And I've been trying to do that. Believe me, by Monday, I'm exhausted. So it's a lot of gigs.
I bet. It is a lot of gigs, but a little bit slim right now. But I think things will hopefully, hopefully
combination winter and COVID.
There you go. So we got our guests Scott and Mechelle coming up. Scott and Mechelle Smith, been married 34 years, been playing music together for a long time too. We're going to find out all about them, and you're going to find out about them because you weren't here for that interview.
I am. I tried to find the pre-interview, and I think I did, but I didn't get a chance to listen to it. So
yeah,
who knows?
All right. Well, more RiverBend talent brought to you by Macias insurance agent Matt Van Voorhis and the Halpin Music Company coming up right after this. Another edition of RiverBend Talent here on 107.7, the WBGZ. Brought to you by Halpin Music. Thanks to them, they've been with us since the very beginning, paying to keep this show happening. Thanks so much to those guys. Big thanks to my buddy Matt Van Voorhis from Macias Insurance. He also is the sponsor of this show. And without Macias Insurance and Halpin, we wouldn't get to come back and check around every week like we do. It would just, they'd have more Clark Howard give you financial information or something. I don't know what they would do. I'm sure they'd replace us quick. So big thanks to those guys. So remember, you need to run out to Halpin, buy a really fancy guitar, and then go straight to Macias Insurance and insure it. That's my advice to you. My partner Dennis is out this evening, so I'm Pigpen. I'll be handling this portion of the show, and we have a group we've been talking about for probably 2 years now getting in. Scott and Mechelle. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Mechelle.
Thank you very much.
Great
Glad to be
being
here.
This is good.
I think it was about 2 years ago when we played, you guys played Happy Trails. What was it, 2000, maybe 18, 19, somewhere in there?
It was on my birthday.
It was your birthday. I remember that. I totally forgot about that. That was the first time I saw you guys perform. We had been reading your name on this show for 2 years prior because you play constantly, other than 2020.
The breaks came on.
Right. You guys play often, and since we read all the gigs, we read your name a lot, and there's another one like Lanny and Julie. We read their name every week and still haven't seen them play. One of these days, I'll get to it. I saw you guys play. Fabulous job.
Thank you.
You have an excellent selection of music that you pick. I think the music that came out in like the late 60s through the 70s is some of the just my absolute favorite music. The band's got experimental.
Oh, yes.
It got everybody got open to new ideas at that time.
Quite a bit.
That generation, you could say they changed a few things. Maybe.
Yes.
So to be honest, I'll let you know, just because we're going to get to know each other tonight, because we don't know each other.
Yeah.
So we're going to become friends. So first,
I love it.
I'll tell you something about me, then you can tell you something. We'll talk about you guys. Okay. I once killed a drifter. No, that's not what I'm going to tell you. That's not at all. His name, every now and again, I pull out his wallet and think, Scott Hamilton, you poor SOB. No, none of that is true. I actually started out like as a punk rocker and like heavy metal, and that was sort of punk rock's easy, 3 chords and the truth, and you can do it. So I didn't have to know anything, right? An angry young man I was, So I went to my first Grateful Dead show and life changed.
Yeah.
I really thought, wow, I like this. And it opened me up to all this great music from that time zone. And here I am today, still loving all that music. Now to you guys.
Uh-oh.
Have you killed any drifters recently?
Not since COVID.
I killed a few by giving them COVID. No, that's not true. That's not true. So, seriously, Scott and Mechelle, we're gonna get to know you guys. We're gonna start. We'll start with Mechelle. We're going to start with Beauty. Mechelle, you are a singer of the group, the vocalist of the group.
Yes,
I try. You do beautiful. When I first heard you sing Stevie Nicks, my jaw dropped a little bit. I sat there going, "That's good.
Thank you
That's
very
good."
much.
That's why I immediately approached you after the show. I know it took me 2 years to follow through. I'm a slacker. More things about me.
Yeah, that was too.
Well, it took COVID to get that to happen.
Yeah, I've been telling Dennis, look, I talked to these guys. They're good. I seen them play, and this show tends to snowball, where we either have a lot of people requesting to get on, or we're looking at the list going, because we have these huge lists of people that we haven't had on. And your name finally surfaced to the top. It had been working its way up. The day I talked to you 2 years ago, your name got scribbled on a list, and it finally worked its way out. Yeah. So, Mechelle, you've been singing since you were since the womb, I understand.
Yes, yeah. Since I was shorter than I am now, really.
Well, you're at least 3 apples high now, right? So.
Yep, since I was a little girl. Yes, I've been singing since I was a little girl. My first love was Stevie Nicks, as a matter of fact, and I don't know. I always tell everybody this, but whenever I was about 9 years old, and I would always listen to Fleetwood Mac all the time, and I was just like, oh man, one of these days I'm gonna grow up and be her. And I'm not her, but but I try very hard, and that's and then whenever I met Scott, he made that dream come true. You know? And that's it took a long time, but
Well, just to touch back on the "You're Not Stevie Nicks," I bet if Stevie Nicks knew that you and Scott had been married for 34 happy years, she would say, "I'm not Mechelle." She's not had a lot of luck in that situation. So.
No, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Don Henley's still going, "Oh, Sarah, she named that song after our unborn child." I think there's a little bitterness between them. I don't know.
I love that.
Come on, Don Henley. How long's your ponytail now, right?
Yeah.
Quit telling me who to vote for. No, I don't know. I love Don Henley. I'm talking smack, but I really do.
I love that. That's awesome.
Not so much the dirty laundry, but man, when the Eagle stuff.
Oh, yeah.
My gosh.
Beautiful.
Timothy B. Schmidt knew how to play. I'm just going to say. Anyway.
The harmonies.
Mechelle, you were a little shy, though. You said Scott finally pulled you out of your shell, but it took a few years to make that happen.
Absolutely.
According to what, I haven't known Scott long, but we had a powwow when you weren't paying attention, and he said if you were singing in the shower in the other room and he would walk in, you'd just moan. You'd just stop.
I'd be like,
Oh, yeah. And I said, keep going, mate. You should.
No. Yeah. And the first time, I keep hitting that. But the
I'll
actually
ignore that
the
thing.
first
I don't
time,
even know what it's here for.
Actually, it's an intimidation thing. But actually, the first time, whenever we played, I actually wasn't scheduled to play with him at Stagger Inn, and he's like, "I'm gonna call my wife up here." I'm like, No. And I cried the whole time, whenever I was up there. I mean, I had the involuntary body jerks and stuff, I'd be like,
Got ticks like a dog.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh man, this has got to go. And then and then I found Crown Royal at that time. But it was like, it took a long time.
Maybe Crown Royal found you.
And then I'm just like, But and then I found Janis Joplin, after that, and I always loved Janis, but it was, it's just one of those things that I fell in love with her too.
Yeah.
So she's one of my favorites as well.
Yeah.
And then
So did Jim Morrison and
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix, and everybody fell in love with Janis.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
she's one of those, because people are, a lot of people are just like, oh man, she does a lot of screaming. I'm like, not if you really listen to her. She's so soulful and
Soulful as could be. And her own hometown will not even acknowledge her because they are just so uptight Texas backwards,
Yeah.
Are you familiar at all with the band, the 13th Floor Elevators?
No.
Okay, they sort of the grandfathers of psychedelic music, came out of Austin, Texas in the early 60s, and the rumor has it their lead singer, Rocky Erickson, is the one who took a little intimidated, shy Janis and taught her how to belt it out and
Really?
scream. Yeah,
Oh, that's- yeah.
She was a very shy, and he saw that she could sing good, but she was very shy, and sounds familiar. So I'm
Yeah.
just trying to connect the dots here.
And I'm not trying to be morbid or anything, but
Please be
I was
morbid.
Yeah. But she passed away on my birthday, on October 4th. And so
But there you go. See
and
that,
so,
and
yeah.
the story thickens. The plot thickens here. A little shy Mechelle who learned how to belt it out with the help of Scott.
That took a long time, and that's
But once Scott, and we're going to touch back on that staggering story here in a minute. But before we move on to the other half of the story.
Yeah.
Once Scott brought you up, and once you found Crown Royal, and you found Janis Joplin, and things melded in your head, and you said it took 16 years for you to figure out how to be somebody else when you grabbed a microphone.
Yeah, it's so well, because I no longer drink. I have not drank in 9 years.
Right.
So our son
Good for you.
Yeah, our son was sick, and he had cancer, and so life happens, and we all just kind of just went whoosh, and lost our minds for a while. And so after 5 years of being that way, I just said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. And so I have to become somebody else in order to go out there and do that, and I would just say, okay, it's time to be Scott and Mechelle, and I just kind of and go out and just just do that, and just become somebody else.
The guy who normally sits in this chair, Dennis, his alter ego, Dennis Laird is his name, his alter ego is Bash.
Really?
And he sang for a band called Cottonmouth. And if you know Dennis, he's a pretty quiet, subdued guy, but he gets on stage and he's a maniac. He is just insane. Like, why? Don't lock me up in a room with that guy. And I think there's a lot of people who do that, and so good for you. Once you found that release, how good did it feel to just get up and sing and not have that shy voice telling you can't do it?
It was amazing, actually.
Yeah.
It's still, I just, because I'm not as timid, and I talk to people, because I was during oral book reports at school, I would always miss that day,
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sick, I can't go in,
I miss the anal book reports.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what? Oh, sorry. Wait, what are we talking about? I'm sorry.
And so, but anyway, so I just, and now, because I just kind of talk to people and everything while we're playing and stuff, and it's almost like to the point where, like, that's all I do. I'm just like, hello,
She said, if you don't go along, I'm gonna come talk to you.
Yeah, I always say, I'm like, come on, let's do this.
Yeah.
If you don't want, so I just become that person, and I don't know what. Well, give me a nickname for my alter ego. I don't know what that would be.
It's Mechelle.
Yeah, that's right.
You're Mechelle at home, and you're Mechelle. You say it with a little more emphasis. I don't know. I've been calling you Thundercat in my brain. No, that's not true. I don't know.
I like that.
You don't want to know what's going on up here. It's not good.
We'll just say it's the goddess of thunder. Yeah.
So,
I'm just kidding.
So now to move from beauty
Thank you.
to also beauty, the beautiful guitar stylings of Scott, the other half of the scenario of Scott and Mechelle. Now, Scott, let's roll back to the beginning with you. 5th grade, you start playing guitar.
Start taking
That's
lessons.
10 years old, barely in the double digits.
Yes, and like one string at a time for about 2 years.
For 2 years.
Oh yeah, I get yelled at by my teachers, like, you didn't practice, did you? I said, I'm bored. And so then I actually
Challenge
for
me.
about maybe a half a year, and then me and my dear friend Kevin, we heard Kiss for the first time, and then let's rock. Then I wanted electric guitar at that point, and so then it as a life changer.
So originally in 5th grade, you started paying for lessons on acoustic guitar. Acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
So that again, I'll let you in on a little me here. We're sharing with each other. I had a similar thing happen, except I had no patience for the 2 years. I got my first guitar, went to my first guitar lesson. I got a Mel Bay book, came with the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So it already was like first position of all 5 strings. I was down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm paying for these lessons at the ripe old age of 12 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy says, on our first lesson, we'll learn the first position of the first string. I did not pay for any more lessons.
Yeah.
I'm like, the first 5 lessons are wasted. I already know this from Mel Bay, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, it was just horrible. I'd have to count it 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, I'm like, man, I get yelled at. They'd raise their voices at me.
Now, I did, previous to that, just for my mom, to give me the right to buy a guitar with my own money. It was a weird household. I came from a weird house. It was a roundhouse. No, that's not true. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's nothing to do with it. I'm sorry. I can't, my mom, I told her I wanted a guitar. She said, you just want to be a rock and roller. I'm like, yes. And she said, you don't even want to learn music. I'm like, yes. I mean, kind of. I just, chicks and party sounds cool, but I think a guitar constitutes that with my uncoolness. And so I agreed to take 6 months of piano lessons, and to be honest, I wish I would have paid attention.
Right.
I still remember her, little Miss Durbro was her name, and she actually taught me the key to music. If I just would have paid attention, she taught me how to play by number instead of note.
Right.
And if you know how to play by number, well, you can play just about anything in any key, anytime, anywhere. And I was too stupid to realize that she was so smart.
Right.
And so what the only retention I have from 6 months is learning to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. And it was 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2. Yeah. But just by getting that, now I can look back and go, now that I've learned a little bit more about music theory and my so many years of trying to recall what she taught me, I thought that lady was genius. Yeah. And all I wanted was just to sit here and be done with it so I can get a guitar and learn how to rock.
Yeah,
play some REO Speedwagon or something.
They were wanting to take in a different direction. You want to rock, They're just trying to bring me down. I get it.
Don't bring me down. My job is to stay high.
Yes, exactly.
Right? I think. I don't know. It might not be my job. It's my hobby. So I digress. So you after you had the patience for 2 years of that. Oh, yes. Kudos to you, sir.
The Bluebells of Scotland down. That's about my only song out of my baby.
So then you
Bluebells of Scotland.
But you moved on to Kiss and straight into Cold Gin.
Oh yes. Oh, that was. I can do this. This is good.
Yeah, Kiss was a great band to learn. Again, basically sort of punk rock, 3 chords, and just singing about partying,
right?
Which was what made us all love them.
Yeah,
true. So you and what was your buddy's name?
Kevin Bloodworth.
Kevin, he really taught you how to rock finally, which is what you wanted.
He was an advanced player, and he showed me, oh my God, a lot of stuff.
What was
very
your
patient with me?
What was your first electric guitar you went out?
It was a Tisco Del Rey.
I have a Tisco hanging on my wall in my studio right now. It's a F-hole,
right. My Lord. Yeah,
hollow body. 1960 Tisco. I love. I mean, they're great guitars.
I want to get another one just to hang in the music room. Like, wow, this is my first.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to it. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what became of my first guitar, but when you said Tisco, I went, I got one.
Right.
It's a great little guitar, man. Yes. And a lot of people are unfamiliar with those guitars. They're not like Gibsons and Fenders, where everybody knows those.
Right.
But Tisco's made some fabulous little guitars.
Yes.
So there you go. Tisco. Remember what age you got that at?
I was probably about 9th grade at that point. And then I was at a buddy's house, spend the night, and picked up his electric guitar and amp, played one. I think it's Black Sabbath for don don da 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 bum 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 for like 8 hours in a row.
But you got to slow that down.
Oh
Down,
yeah.
down, down. That's what gives it that creepy Ozzy feel, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
And then,
I always thought Ozzy should do a Christmas album and be like, "You better watch out." I mean, it would be so creepy to hear Ozzy sing that.
I bet he would love that.
I'm sorry. My brain is spinning out. It is way late, and I was due to take my medicine in 10 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I digress. Yeah, so you learned to play some Sabbath.
Yes, and I bought that guitar the next day. My parents.
The next day.
Yeah, the next day my parents bought it for me, and I took it home, plugged it in, and played it nonstop. That same thing. You know, to the point my dad said, "Do you know any other songs?"
Not yet, sir.
For the love of God.
Right. I bet he had visions in his mind of that amp just going out the window and the guitar breaking and it going to Pete Townsend on that thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, he'd come home sometime and the light would be flipping on and off, and I at that point had bigger amps and stuff. I'd play them so loud. I said, "Dad, could you hear it outside?" I said, "I could hear it when I turned around the corner in my vehicle. My whole truck would vibrate. Turn it down."
But I love it, God, turn it down. So your first band.
Playing out band was Thief.
Kevin and I was, first band formed.
Oh, it was 13th hour.
13th hour.
5th grade, yeah, 13th hour. And me and Kevin. And we had a Molly Malone lady that lived by us, a young girl lived by us. She sang, and we'd have basement concerts for all the neighbor kids. And we had instead of a microphone, we had a wood burner, like a wood burning kit.
Yeah.
And taped that onto a microphone stand. That was our microphone because it looked cool. You know?
Didn't actually amplify
Not so
anything,
much.
but it was more there for aesthetics.
Right on. Yes, it was great. 13th hour.
Man, aren't those kind of memories? Like I have some of those memories of like the early basement. Really, just I know how to play Louie and Wild Thing. They're sort of the same, but I will play them both over and over all night. You know, just good memories.
Oh
though.
yeah, wonderful. It was fun.
For first playing out band, you said was Thief.
Thief, yeah.
So how did the Thief career go?
It was good. We spent like the first almost year in the basement practicing, and then we started playing clubs, and so a lot of stuff went out the window. It took off well. It was fun. We learned a lot of stuff and forgot why we were even playing. You know, I was like, hey, this is fun.
Learned a lot about life and very little about music.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, my.
I have said for 40 years, if I would have practiced instead of chasing parties and girls, I would be as good as all my friends.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And instead, I'm begging all my friends who practice to be in bands to make me look better. You know?
And our drummer recorded us off the board one time. He said, next practice is, I think we need to go upstairs and listen to this recording. We're listening to it going, oh, my God. Maybe, perhaps, hear me out, we should cut back a little bit.
If your mind's in the right state, you hear yourself playing it
it sounded
just
great.
perfectly. But
Yeah.
if you listen to the tape, it's like,
Yeah. It was great. Out of control.
It happens to all of us. We have see, and it's funny because as you grow, you learn things like everything your parents or the government or the powers that be taught you aren't necessarily true. You learn about drugs by yourself. There are certain drugs you take that when you wake up, you might feel great when you're on them, and the next day you wake up and you might not feel so good. And you had ideas when you were on them that when you write them down and when you wake up the next day, you're like, this is the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
Yes.
And then there's drugs you take, they feel good when you're on them, and you wake up the next day and you feel okay.
Oh, for a couple days.
And you read the ideas you wrote down and they're all misspelled and kind of jumbled, but you're like, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I think I could work with this. You know, and you learn the truth.
Oh, yes.
You know, and alcohol's one of those tricky ones because, a cocktail or two, And it'll kind of put you in that zone of loosening you up. And this is for all the kids out there. This is a learning lesson for all you kids. A lot of musicians listen to this show, I think more than most radio shows, because it's mainly about music. But so this is for all the kids who are getting to that age. A couple drinks when you get to that age, it's going to loosen you up. But there's a couple more put you in this stage where you think you're really good and you're just not.
Don't do it. Good advice is not to do it at a high school dance and get a police escort out of Coulterville. We got fired from our booking agent.
I feel there's a story here, so let's go back. What year was this?
This was probably 84.
That was Steve, wasn't it?
Yes, 84.
And we were really caught up in everything. They got us a gig at a high school dance in the gymnasium, Coulterville, Illinois. And so we started having
that is the middle of nowhere. I actually know where Coulterville is.
Yes.
I've been there recently.
We were there last weekend.
Yes, we took a trip down that way, and always pointed out and take a picture of the gym. And so then we had the roadies would mix us drinks. We were back in the locker room was our dressing room. One thing led to another. Pretty soon all the lights came on. Said, you guys got like a half hour to get out of here. Like, what? Come on, man.
Drinking at a high school dance.
Yeah. I think there's like a state law. You can't do that.
There might be a law against drinking on high school property. I don't know. I don't read all the laws. I'm afraid they'll scare me.
We were breaking down and went over to a table they had set up with like cookies and stuff. And, man, the principal was very upset. And so I reached... took a bite of a cookie. Don't you eat that cookie. You put that cookie down on the crunch. Okay. And put it back there and said, wasn't that great? And we got fired. We're not allowed anywhere in Southern Illinois school district. Again, got fired from our booking agent off on Broadway. And
wasn't it real dark and rainy?
Oh, yeah. So I'm in Kevin's car. He's driving. And it's pouring down rain. The police are waiting out the edge of the schoolyard. And what we didn't know that at the time was it was so dark, he just drove right to the schoolyard and left ruts all through that. And the booking agent said, Kevin, why on earth did you drive like that?
through the school plate.
To avoid the police waiting at the gate.
And they escorted us to town. We're like, this is so funny. Then we got a call. I said, hey, we got to go meet the booking agent like at 6 o'clock. And he's sitting in his office like this, and shut the door behind you guys. What were you thinking? I hate to do it, but you're all fired. Don't ever come around again.
I've been fired by better people than you, man.
Our name will live on.
Right.
Last gig we had.
And the next week we played out as the Cat Burglars. Now.
Yeah.
We changed our name now. Yeah, that's you know what though? Those little memories. That's on your last breath as you're laying there. Those are the things you're gonna treasure.
Yes.
I doubt anyone on their deathbed lays and thinks, I wish I would have spent more money on clothes.
Yeah.
I think you're probably thinking about your family and those great moments that really lit up your life, and
define.
I'll give you a similar one here because hey, I want you to know me too, because I don't know why I'm not worth knowing. But anyway, we were doing a prom. I was with a band doing a prom up in Carrollton. Again, a little nowhere town up north. And we were checking into the one hotel in Carrollton early before the prom, and we were only using it to, we were going to go set up all our gear, and you get hot and sweaty, and then come take a shower. And it was the 80s, put your spandex on, and cool. Get ready, fluff up the hair, and get ready for the big show. And luckily, it just so happened the chief of police of Alton was the manager of the band, so we had him booking us into because I sometimes say the wrong things. You might have picked up on that in the last 25 minutes or whatever. But the lady says, "You're with the band?" And she looks at all these long hair, teenage guys whose eyes might look maybe Asiatic, and for whatever reason, and we might have a rather odoriferous appeal to us, and and she's just like, "You're with the band? Well, it says here you won't be using the beds because we weren't going to spend the night. And I looked right at her. I said, I don't know, is your daughter here?
Oh, nice.
And that did not go well with this lady at all. Luckily, like I say, we had an actual adult with a little authority who was like, get out of here. You know.
Sometimes they have no sense of humor, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, comedy's not pretty, and I'm not saying I'm a funny guy, but I usually say the dumbest thing that comes to my head.
Yeah. You have to explain it and still just drive it.
Right. So after Thief, you had a band Giant?
Yes.
And
Yes.
how did that one go?
It was good. It was probably about a year, I guess, and we were very good. Steve Whitlow, Tony Antonelli, and me and Kevin, and it was a blast.
Yeah.
Then we got open for Autograph.
Oh, I saw them play right down the road at the old Granny's Rocker.
Kind of Autograph maybe after their...
Oh, yeah. At the same time they were playing at Granny's Rocker.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't when they were playing over at the big places, man. I've opened for a lot of national acts, but never played a big place.
No, and they come walking in, I'm like, maybe it's not what I really want to do. You know, I was like, these guys were hungry and tired. About that big around, and they were like, damn, look. Then the guitar player kept firing on me, see?
Well, she's a looker.
I said, hey, man, that's my girlfriend. He's like, I don't care. And he's about this tall. I'm like,
I will squish you like an aluminum can, buddy.
That was basically what you were like. You're like muscling in there, you know.
Sometimes that's a good reality check, though. When you are chasing that sort of lifestyle, sometimes seeing somebody in that position.
Yes,
I can remember playing. There was a big place called Club 367, right?
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Oh man, I played there a bunch of times back in the day, and it was the greatest place. I played there at a weekend festival that had 700 people, and that place felt great because it was packed. We played there a bunch of weekends where there'd be 50, and it'd feel like nobody was there because it was so big that it felt like it's empty here.
Yeah, that was a great game.
Yeah,
We played with a band that was an act that I think they were touring and everything, and we were like going, we want to do what those guys are doing, right? And before the gig, they're like hungry and gonna eat, and so we go over to their van to see. Like we all had sandwiches and stuff that we brought from home, and one of them had a can of blueberry pie filling that he was just eating with a spoon for dinner. And Dennis, the guy, Dennis, the guy who's normally here hosting the show, was there, and he said, "You want some bread to make a sandwich out of that?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he made a blueberry sandwich. And I remember thinking, I don't know about this.
Yeah, it was an eye-opener.
Like,
It is.
Wow. Maybe I'll do this on the side. This is brutal.
I don't want to eat blueberry pie filling for like dinner. Like I don't mind dessert or something. You know, I use my lighter and light it up like a pie. I don't know. Anyway, I don't.
Like an MRE.
Yeah.
So after Giant, you and Mechelle had your children come along, so you took a bit of a break,
right? And then for about 8 or 9 years, I guess, and then once they were self-efficient, then was in a band called The Stand.
Yeah,
and there's a bunch of other guys that were on the local scene back in the early '80s, and then this was in the '90s. Then we all got together, and it was good. It snowballed. We were good.
Yeah.
Nice. How long did that run last?
About 5 years.
Oh,
we played every other weekend.
That's
then
a good
one thing I
run.
noticed, it was, and it was just a great group of guys, and it's just the hours seemed like it gotten a little tougher, and the regulations I could no longer do it. Man,
You weren't 20 anymore?
no, could not. Could not do things that make me wake up as quick. And we'd be out till 5 a.m. Get woke up by the boys at 8 a.m. Like, something's got to give. But it was a blast.
You could have gave away the kids. Here's what I suggest. I had too many. The kids were bothering me, especially my oldest. So I called Child Services, and they came and took him away. And I was like, "This is too easy." So I called Child Services again. Fake news. None of that's true. But it is a good idea to help ease the burden at home. Anyway, I know what you mean. The hours of playing in a band. Some people don't. They think it's just a party, and it is a big party.
Oh yes.
However, if you have to function on any normal level, and it's not just the party and then sleep all day, it gets
very difficult.
tough. Yeah.
Very
if you don't
painful.
have roadies and
especially,
people that
yeah.
carry all your equipment. And
Right.
Actually, when he played in the band, I was one of the roadies. So it was. Me and Kevin Bloodworth, a lot of times we'd be carrying out stacks, Marshall stacks, while Scott was standing at the fajita truck.
Yeah. Remember Jesus? The fajita
Oh yeah,
man?
yeah.
Legendary.
Oh, absolutely. Bruce that took over Bruce still runs his truck and has a sign that says "I love Jesus."
Oh, I didn't
hanging
know
in it.
that.
Yeah, Bruce Hill still sells burritos out of the back of that truck.
They were by Cheapos or Cheapies or whatever.
Well, he
love to
actually,
see that.
in all honesty, I haven't seen Bruce all this year because 2020 we weren't allowed to do a whole
Right.
lot. He was at my festival I threw in Effingham the year before that, slinging his food, burritos and all that stuff, and that sign's still hanging there. It says "I love Jesus."
I love it.
Awesome.
He came down to our house one time and I picked him up. So I will pay you because he's starting to get a little bad health and
Yeah.
they made recipes, all of his seasoning and
Yeah. Ooh.
And they
yes.
sit there and made
Hey.
his. They
Oh,
made
yes.
his.
Suddenly,
they made
I'm
his
glad I've been
salsa.
kind of nice to
Oh,
you.
hey, Scoots. Yeah.
Yeah, we called it Hey Scoots instead of. But he taught Scott how to make his salsa.
Oh, yeah.
Again, I am glad I have made an
Yes.
attempt to at least be kind. And listen, all that talk about I wasn't trying to hit on her. Like I'm not that autograph. I was just saying how beautiful she is. I mean, you might have caught me like looking pretty heavy, but I wasn't getting
Oh,
weird.
yeah, I know if you got We got his cooker as well.
So back to Mechelle. I'm sorry. So after the stand, it's getting hot in here. I don't know what's going on. It's getting late in here. To move the project forward, after the stand, you just started soloing. You just started going out.
Well, I did one gig solo. I booked a gig at Happy Hour at Stagger Inn. And I went to, I thought, this will be, I got enough stuff to last good 2-3 hours. And about 15 minutes into it, I'm like, no, I can't do that song. Not now. I do it in my kitchen, but not here. And so I was out of my list rather quickly. So I said, Michi, come up. You got to come up and join me. Sing a couple songs that we do, like with my parents. I'm dying up there. And she said, I don't know. I've never done it in public. I said, please do it now. And she did it, and everybody loved it. And it's like, let's start doing this. And it just kind of took a while to take off, but we started playing more and more, and then it just really took off.
Oh, yeah. And you guys have an act now.
Yeah.
You guys are a solid act.
Yeah.
Thank
We
you.
read your name almost every week down here playing at one venue or another. So, and so now for the like all your friends or people who have seen you that are tuned in right now are going, Scott and Mechelle, I love Scott and Mechelle. and there's a few people out there going, Scott and Mechelle, I don't know these guys. What do they do? I don't know. So to let the people out there know, what kind of music are they going to see when they come and see Scott and Mechelle? Like, well, obviously you brought up Stevie Nicks, and I know you do a good Stevie Nicks. What other kind of what's some of your wheelhouse bands that you play?
Well, we do. We've been been doing a lot of Led Zeppelin lately.
yes.
We do a melody of Led Zeppelin
Civil Wars.
and Civil Wars. And
Dolly Parton.
Yeah, Dolly.
Michi style.
I love Dolly Parton. You know, Jolene's one of my favorite songs by her. And we, I've actually been doing Coat of Many Colors since I was a little girl.
One of my favorites.
Oh, yeah,
Love
yeah.
the song.
And,
Yeah, that's like
yeah.
blasting me back to a young age to hear that.
CCR now we're starting.
Yeah,
we're
some
doing
CCR and Cranberries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that you brought up Dolly Parton, I got Kenny Rogers in my head too, and I know you're both My Mix 94.3 listeners. So tomorrow morning I want to play a Kenny Rogers tune. I don't think there's any Dolly Parton in their in the library because it's more
Yeah.
rock and roll. But I did happen to see a version of his him doing his version of I Just Stopped By to See What Condition My Condition Was In.
Yeah.
And they're like, I was gazing through the library,
Yeah.
so just for you guys,
Cool.
I'm going to put that on.
Beautiful.
in the
Thank
morning.
you. That'd be
Yes.
awesome.
There you go.
We'll be having it on
Yeah.
early.
We'll tell
We'll
our
get up
son.
right at 6.
Our youngest son Tyler still lives with us. You know, he's 28 and shreds on guitar. By the way.
Oh my!
There you go.
Yes.
And
There you go.
he is very. I mean, he's got a wide variety of stuff that he does, and
From
you
very
know,
heavy to to just, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Billy Strings.
Billy Strings is
Monster.
There's a new kid out named Billy Strings.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen him, but the kid can pick, man. I picked up on him a few years back. He was only about 27 when I come across him, and I go to see that guy. I'll
He's
drive.
unbelievable, isn't he?
He puts on. We just went and saw him up in Peoria at a drive-in show this summer because they were, COVID, couldn't do regular. Oh, one of the most amazing PA systems I've ever seen, and that band. Yeah. Those kids. They got an act, man. They know what they're doing. So who else other than I cut you off at Dolly Parton because it's my mind's. I'm easily derailed. I'm sorry.
We do stuff like "Zombie" by the Cranberries and stuff like that.
We have a couple gospels.
Yeah.
So a lot of good 60s and 70s music, just like I brought up the sister station, Mix 94.3. A lot of stuff like what they're playing there.
Somebody asked us not too long ago it was actually Steve Dunn. He asked us to learn Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves.
Yes. And I Got You, Babe. We learned
And I
that.
Got You, Babe.
Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves is hands down my favorite share.
Me
It
too.
speaks to me. It speaks to me.
That's what we would do whenever I was a little girl. We always kind of me and my sisters. I have two sisters, and we would dress up. And I was always Cher, and they, and we'd go out and we'd do these little skits in front of our family members and stuff, and they'd laugh and just, look, check them out,
It was a simpler time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But Gypsies, Tramps, and Things was my favorite by Cher.
I would have.
Our Dark Lady, too.
I wouldn't be able to remember it, but probably 10, 15 years back, I rewrote the lyrics because I wanted to copy it, but I needed to do it from a male standpoint. So I picked up a girl instead of a boy. Which, I could have picked up a boy. Whatever. I'm not judging anybody. It was an experimental time when I was a gypsy, tramp, and thief. I don't know.
Was she a drifter by chance?
Yeah. And we're working, actually, we're going to start working on a new song by Marcus King. Have you heard him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've seen him play. That kid again. He can play.
Yes.
I was actually supposed to see him and Billy Strings do a show together. They were playing in New Orleans after post jazz. I was supposed to go to Jazz Fest this year. I had tickets to go to Jazz Fest, and one of the nights, the post show we were going to was Marcus King and Billy Strings, I believe. It was
Tyler,
Very
our
talented,
son, turned us on to him as well, and that's and so this song is the new song that we're really going to start working on heavily is Wildflowers and Wine.
Oh yeah,
by
there
him.
you go.
And that's a great one.
I love wildflowers, and I can drink wine. I'm all right with that too.
I love wine.
I'll take the Wildflowers. He can have the wine.
So tell me about the gig. Got any gigs on the calendar coming up?
So far, because we had a private wedding that we were going to be doing, but they didn't cancel the wedding, but they were just kind of afraid of
announcing it.
Yeah. With
I feel you.
yeah, and so I got a phone call from her yesterday, and so we're not going to be doing that one. But the next gig that we will be playing out will be at Big Daddy's on the 29th of November.
There you go.
Yeah.
November 29th. Big Daddy's up in Edwardsville, right straight across from the courthouse, right?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I know COVID had this year just kind of a weird year in general, but I'm sure as things get back to normal, if there is such a thing. There's no normal up here in my head, but I think there's this thing, society's normal, whatever that might be. If there is what they call the post-pandemic world, I'm sure we're going to be reading your name every week again like we were, or every other weekend, just like it was in the past.
20s.
So there you go. The roaring 20s. So, hey, thanks so much.
Thank you.
To Scott
Thank
and
you.
Mechelle. Thanks for coming down again, November 29th. No, that's my wife's birthday, so I got to remember that. Note to self, get a present. Honey, I got you this big stuffed bear from Walmart. Anyway, Walgreens, I wouldn't go there. Anyway, everybody can catch up with Scott and Mechelle how. If they want to look and see where you're playing or find out anything about you got Facebook to look at?
Yep,
Scott
Facebook.
and Mechelle Smith.
Scott and Mechelle Smith on
Amy.
Facebook. You got a website?
Yes. Oh no, just our Facebook.
Yeah,
account.
just our
Just the
Facebook,
Facebook.
yeah.
That nobody has websites are so. Are these newfangled gadgets? You know,
Nothing clicking on the
Right. So there you go. And if you want to find out anything more about Scott and Mechelle, just go to Facebook, look up Scott and Mechelle Smith. Been married 34 years, been playing music out together since about 16, since about 2004.
Right. Yeah.
They got a solid act. If you're into the music of the 60s and 70s, it's definitely someone you want to get out and see. Thanks so much for coming down and hanging
Thank
out with
you.
me, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Privilege,
it.
man. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
everybody. Almost forgot. See, Dennis isn't here. I'm trying to be the consummate professional without him. Almost forgot. Thanks so much to Halpin Music for their sponsorship. They do lessons there. They've always got an on-deal line. They do online lessons and in-person lessons at this point, so a variety of things you can get from Halpin Music. You got a kid who's wanting to play music in a band. They've got all that sort of stuff. You just want to rock out a guitar. They got that too. Check out Halpin Music. Also, Macias Insurance agent Matt Van Voorhis. He's not only a great insurance agent, he's a heck of a guitar player. He's old school. He'll come to your house and have coffee with you and talk to you about insurance. If you call him and ask him to talk to you about insurance, he'll give you a great deal, but also just because I think it's funny, ask him to bring a guitar and play his song because he's a great guitar player also. There you go. Thanks so much for tuning in to RiverBend Talent. All of you listeners have homework, as you know. In the next week, I want you to all, if you can, safely get out and support local music and art.